What is up, everyone? We made it.
Only a few minutes late today.
We'll get there eventually.
Someday we'll be punctual. Well, we're here. Welcome, everybody, to the Practically Reality Podcast. My name is Garrett. If you don't know me, I'm also known as Garrett the Gamer, also known as Breadbox, and I'm here with my good buddy Declan for this week's episode of Practically Reality. We talk about gaming, we talk about tech, we talk about news, and D&D sometimes. I don't know. It slips in there. Let's be honest.
Yes.
But-
well, I mean, that's gaming, right?
That's gaming, bro. If you're not D&Ding and gaming, bro, what even are you, man? What even are you doing?
Are you really even a nerd?
Are you even a nerd, bro? Do you even nerd, bro? Oh, we got stuff to talk about this week, guys. Usually the way this podcast goes is we start out with some gaming wins and losses from the news this week, and then we jump into probably a topic where we go into kind of a deep dive into whatever we want to talk about. And this week, guys, we have a new segment that we are excited to try out. We are going to give you guys a game recommendation. Declan and I have both prepared a game that we want to recommend to you guys. We will pitch it to you. We'll show it to you. And you guys will decide whether or not you go and play it. And then after all that, guys, we'll be taking questions from the live chat because we go live every Wednesday. around 1 p.m. Pacific time. And we take questions from the audience. So if you want to catch us live, catch us there. And if you don't catch us live, catch us on Spotify and all the other places you get your podcasts. But that's the plan today, boys. Let's hit it.
Yeah. Well, do you have any fun news, or should we just start? How was your week, man?
Dude, this was a crazy week. Did you see that J-Man Curly replied to my roast of his game?
I did.
That was something. He was
I also saw you missed the first level, so you didn't actually
I-
really review the whole game.
To my defense, he did not make it obvious where the crap that level was.
Yeah.
So, like,
Little UX design help.
he needs a little design help. I gave him what recommendations I could. I told him, hey, reach out if you want some more help, bro. It's all good. It's all good. But I thought that was cool. Like, that's cool for a couple reasons, right? Number one, like, he's actually looking for feedback. I thought that was cool.
Sure.
Doesn't happen very often. And also, like, he also shouted out Sale in his comment, which I was
sick.
like, oh, bro, like, he didn't just like he literally watched the video stuff. So that's cool. Like, I think that's the best base you could possibly get.
Yeah.
For trying to make your game better is he's
For
looking for feedback, taking it in stride, and not trying to like tear anyone else down. So
yeah,
that's cool. Like, J-Man, that was awesome. So a little bit wild. That's definitely a dub.
Maybe you got to do a collab.
Dude, I need to see if I can get in contact with him aside from YouTube comments, because it sounded like he was aware of Sale. I feel like that'd be something his players would love.
Get a little schmackle face inside of Sale.
Yeah, hey, like we'll put in the jawline. the brain rot. Why not? You know, let's get it in there. Get brain rot into Sale. Brain rot for Sale.
Heck yeah, dude.
But yeah, man, that was crazy. That was absolutely wild. We got a working prototype of one of the games that I pitched. We played it as a team internally on Friday last week, and I'm just stoked, man. Like, it's always fun when you had an idea, you see it kind of. Oh yeah. Anyway, we're excited about that. So
yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
It'll be a fun one. It's we're excited about it.
When are you gonna share?
When am I gonna share it?
It's a working prototype, man. Just get that out there.
It's okay. By working prototype, we were all able to connect as multiplayer avatars and like pretend to do the game. There's still a lot of the mechanics that we got to put into it.
Cool.
We are excited though, because the guy that we have heading up the prototype, he's new to Red Team Interactive. We found him through kind of some crazy means. And we're giving him a shot, and so far he's doing a great job. So we'd love to see it. So maybe Red Team's expanding here. That would be cool. And yeah, so he's made a good working prototype so far of one of the games, which is great, man.
Yeah, it's dope. You love to hear it, man. That's exciting.
We're having fun with it. Oh, and I played Gorilla Tag.
I did see that.
There's my L of the week, actually. You know what?
There you go. You mean you got to play a move mechanic?
I did get to play a lot of that move
mechanic.
Which
move mechanic simulator.
Dude, we could talk about this more, but I think Gorilla Tag gets a bad rap because, like, truly, Gorilla Tag movement is great. I love that mechanic. I think it's fantastic. But Gorilla Tag itself has gotten such a bad rap because they were kind of the forerunners of how to deal with toxicity in virtual reality. So they got that attached to them. But I had a very pleasant experience. They've enabled a lot of good tools, like especially for streamers and stuff.
Good.
Make it so that it's a comfortable experience that you can invite people into your game and stuff. We talked a little bit about this last week on last week's episode, with like the ability to have things so that like streamers can play properly, and like they did a good job with it. Like, we got lots of people in lobbies. We played some games. People showed me stuff. It was fun. It was a good time.
There's a reason why it's as big as it is, you know.
It's actually crazy. I went just exploring. They've added all these like levels and hallways and different things to do. Like, it's like, truly, they deserve to be the most popular game because it's actually one of the most expansive as well. They have so many mechanics. Like, they have a whole mod loader in the game. You can load in mods and stuff. And I was like, I had no idea. And they have like their own sandbox thing where you can go build your own whatevers. And I was very impressed. I did not realize the extent to which Gorilla Tag had been developed. So like, Gorilla Tag, my hat's off to you.
No, that's awesome. I agree. I mean, we do rag on Gorilla Tag sometimes, but I remember being in college, and one of the things that we explored a lot were movement mechanics. Like
We
we
did.
tried so many different things, and some things sucked, and some things were okay. And games like I mean, what's the big one that was on Steam that came out?
Half-Life Alyx.
No, the one before that used the engine. It like is the one that introduced the engine. Bone Lab.
Bone Lab. Yeah.
Bone Lab made fun of the history of movement mechanics of VR, right?
Yeah.
There was that whole section of it.
There's
Like we lived through that whole era when we were trying to figure out how to move. And Gorilla Tag is, I mean, they did it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody else did it. They did it. So they deserve like so much credit for doing that. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It's you
like-
just I make fun of it because of the demographic of people that it has attracted more than anything else,
Yeah, like almost like Gorilla Tag and like Re-Kid are almost like synonymous, right? Like,
Yeah.
Tweakers, but like the mechanic itself is fantastic. Like it's just I was telling this to my devs because we're like have been experimenting with like different movement mechanics. And I was just saying, like, look, like by putting Gorilla Tag movement in your game, there's already a mastery mechanic in your game because you can get so good at Gorilla Tag movement, So anyway, yeah, no, I played the crap out of it, and like it's also a workout, bro. Like for real, this next generation of Gorilla Tag kids are gonna be so freaking swole by the time they're like their voice drops, like holy cow.
They've been looks maxing the entire time they've been in Gorilla Tag.
But like straight up, if you put a little bit of weight on your controller and played Gorilla Tag for like 6 hours a day, dude, you would be yoked. Like, let's be honest. Oh man. But yeah, man, that was a thing. That was a thing.
Well, this week I've been starting something new. I have 2 new things that I've been starting. One of them I've been playing around in Snapchat a ton. Lens Studio, which is interesting. I'm doing it for a client project. So it's an interesting platform. Definitely think we can make some cool breadbox things for it. We'll just have to figure it out. And then the other thing that I've been doing, I started playing solo tabletop RPGs by myself. Instead of D&D with people, you play it by yourself. So this is the one I'm playing right now. It's pretty interesting. It's called Colossal.
Okay.
This book right here. So it's pretty simple. You use a deck of cards. So you pick your character, make your character, and then you draw cards from this, and it tells you how to make up the scenario that you're in. And then you just kind of write down the story for it.
Okay.
And then you write down what happened that day inside of this journal. So here's like a character sheet. I haven't filled out this character sheet yet, or this like journal entry, but essentially it's like a tabletop role-playing game, but you don't need anybody else to play with you, and it kind of helps you with world building and just imagination stuff. So sounds lonely and sad, but actually it's a lot of fun. So
I'm not even playing D&D with friends. I'm just playing D&D by myself.
Sometimes it's hard to get people together. I'm working on a one-on-one campaign right now with our friend Matt Bentley.
Okay.
I'm writing a campaign for me to just DM and for him to be a player. So I've been doing a ton of research for that, but I've just wanted to play too. So I started playing by myself, and it's actually like a really good creative outlet. And if you're into like learning about world building, it's a really cool way to get better at world building.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I see it. I can see the appeal. That's a cool dub. Very cool dub.
Somebody said we need to play D&D together. I agree. I should write a one-shot based in the world of Sail. I'll make a Sail setting.
Yo, that'd be interesting.
We could do a role-playing game inside of Sail.
I will play the role of our one lore character, Robert D. Uck. The explorer, professor extraordinaire.
Yeah, we got to try it. I would do it. If you're interested in it, let me know. Maybe we could even get a couple of the people from chat in. That could be fun.
That could be really interesting. I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
Okay.
We'll make it a thing, chat. Just let us know. Sometimes we do a post podcast stream, so could start turning into the post podcast D&Ding.
No, D&D takes a little bit longer, so we'd have to plan. It's like 2 hours. I could do 2 hour.
Could do 2
Do a
hours.
2 hour session.
I can't stream immediately after today's because I did unfortunately book myself out with meetings today. So I do have a meeting in an hour and a half with a fellow VR studio. I'm excited to see they wanted to get some thoughts from me on their current project. So
cool.
I am curious to see what they got cooking. I don't think I'm allowed to say who I'm talking to, so shh. But there's some cool stuff happening in the VR space that I've started getting hints and words of through my connections, and it's kind of exciting. Like, big things are coming.
Cool.
I love to hear it. So another dub. Got any L's on the week? I'm having a hard time thinking of a major L this week.
I mean, the biggest L's I've seen are just studios closing down again. Like, it's sad, but it just keeps happening. Honestly, there was a studio that I didn't even know is still alive that got closed down.
Which one was it?
Oh man, it was a let me find it. It's a team that made a game that flopped, so I kind of thought they died anyway. Oh, there's actually the studio that I did want to talk about is Midnight Society. Do you know what that studio is?
That sounds super familiar. I feel like if I hear what they made.
So they were working on a first-person shooter game
for Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah. So when his controversy came out this last time, they dropped him.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's lost all steam. So it was something that, like, during the NFT hype, they sold NFTs for exclusive cosmetics in their video game, and it's something I've been pumped about. It's a battle royale, but instead of like wide, it's vertical. So it's a very you're inside of one skyscraper, and the whole battle royale takes place inside of a skyscraper.
Yeah,
it's called Dead Drop, and it's dead now. So.
Yeah, it's always interesting when I hear about these like celebrity-backed studios.
Yeah.
On one hand, like I totally understand it. As someone who has quite a bit of influence in the space, I like seriously, if I mention a Sail VR in a post on my channel, there's always an uptick in downloads the next day. Yeah. So like I totally see the appeal. But then again, it brings up the whole question of like, is your studio and your game loved because of the love that people have for the people who are promoting it, or do they actually love the game? And you need both, right? Like you need good marketing and you need a solid product to keep them coming back to. So
I think it was Doc's studio, which sucks.
Yeah.
It was his studio, and then they never released a product. They had like 4 or 5 play tests, so they didn't have anything like official. And they just ran out of money. I'm sure a lot of the money was attached to Dr. Disrespect and his sponsorships and him forking over cash to build the video game that he wanted. And when they lost that, they just kind of lost all steam. So,
and like the other thing that happens a lot of times with these people, this is one of the things I talked about in my review of J-Man Curly's game, is oftentimes these influencers, they'll say, hey, I want to make a game, and they'll either partner up with someone who bleeds them dry. Or they hire people with the resume to be able to do it, and then they have to pay them way too much, you know? Like one thing I've realized when I've gone about hiring new people for my studio, at least, is like you find the people who want a chance, and like there are people like that, especially in the game industry.
For sure,
there are people who are dying for a chance to just be a game developer. And you give them a chance, like they don't care about the pay. They just want a chance to be in that space. Those are the people that are going to make you great games.
Yeah.
Not the people who are like, yeah, I'm going to cost you like $180,000 a year.
Yeah.
And some people pay that. And you know what? Those people are probably talented too. If they got a resume, that's a whole thing. But like this is just what I have done in my career as owning a game studio and also like having the socials to promote it. Mm-hmm. Hire the passionate people, dude. Don't hire the resume. Hire the passion.
For sure.
Every time.
I think you need a couple of the high-level people because, like, it depends on the scale of the game.
Always.
I think you need somebody with experience, though. And, like, if you are at the studio and you are, like, with your studio, you're the experienced person for the most part. So you can guide your studio, and you're involved. But, like, one of the games that I've kind of been following a little bit is made by one of my favorite YouTubers. We've talked about it before.
Yeah, Oompaville?
Yeah, Oompaville. So he just had to get rid of a couple people at his studio because they're trying to do a bunch of stuff over the holidays and didn't realize that it was bad timing for that. So he kept on himself and 3 other people, but they had to get rid of everybody else on their team because it just was bad timing and they couldn't find any publishers or anybody to help them out with their vertical slice. So they actually just started remaking the game. But
Interesting.
yeah, so I don't know. You want people that have the experience that can get you through some of those like hard learning times like this with him, and he has the experienced people. But if you're gonna be like the, I guess, celebrity attached to the product, you want to be involved with it too.
You do want to be involved. I mean, I feel like I come from such a unique perspective on that because, like, I did build the game at
Yeah.
first. And, like, if all of my devs were to suddenly leave me, I could probably keep those games alive to an extent. You know, it would be much, much slower and it would not be, like, as big and as bad and as fast as we've been making things, especially for Sail VR. But, like,
Yeah.
you know, I probably could keep those games afloat. But again, it's like, that's a unique perspective because I can literally chip in on code and stuff. Like I've jumped into several calls during a week where
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, here's like we could do it this way, you know. This is the other thing I've noticed with like these high level guys is oftentimes they over engineer crap, dude.
Yeah.
Like a lot of game development is sometimes you just got to get it working. It doesn't matter how pretty or optimized it is.
For
Sometimes
sure.
it's just got to work.
That's just development in general sometimes, you know?
Yeah, but like you get these people who have got again, this is like the difference between like indie studios and like, you know, the AAA titles. Like the AAA titles, it's like it's got to work, it's got to be optimized, it's got to work with all these other 10 million moving parts that are happening. But when it comes to indie, it's like, fetch, if it works, who cares what it looks like on the background, you know? Just like ship the dang thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, that's another perspective I have, which I love that side of things. I love just like getting something to work, like just get to the fun as fast as possible. Whereas freaking AAA, dude, it's just it ruins game development. It really does. I don't know. I've never actually worked for a AAA studio, so I don't know. But from like again, third person like looking in, it's just kind of like, it's not what it is. So
I think you need both. Honestly,
you do.
You need a healthy AAA environment for an industry to be successful because they funnel so much money into it. And then you need the indie devs that continue to push the like development on the back end, like the innovation. And I feel like both of them are important. And like we talk about AAA games, like there are a lot of them that suck, but there's so many of them that are good too.
Oh,
I know we always criticize the bad ones, just in general as people. We always criticize the bad ones, but we never really talk about the good ones because there are just so many of them.
Which is why we are now including a recommendation part of this podcast where we're going to start showing off the ones that deserve it, you know, because there are games out there that deserve it. And you're right. We do. It's easy just to bash on people, but there are people who do a great job. And I think that kind of segues us into the thing. One of the things I want to talk about today, the new Battlefield trailer. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Does it look good? First and foremost, like let's catch ourselves up to speed for a little bit. Battlefield 2048 had one of the worst launches in history, right? Bugged out of its mind. People were having a hard time like disconnecting from servers. Like it was a mess. It was a mess. Yeah. And like the gameplay itself was bad. Like they did a couple things that people did not like. The way that they were doing like operators and monetization and stuff like that. People just didn't like it. It wasn't good. They was super ambitious. They wanted to do like 128 v 128. It was gonna be an insane amount of numbers. Just didn't happen. Like just kind of fell on its head. I have been told, which again, I haven't played the game in a while. I played 2048 like a couple months back on cloud streaming. So again, not the best experience to play it on, but it was fine. Like it was okay. My problem is like I'm a huge Battlefield 1 player. I love Battlefield 1 so much. And I still play it to this day. I've even played it on stream. Low key considering streaming it like tomorrow or something. So it's not as good as that. It's not as good as that. But it was a good experience. And I've been told by people like Russian Badger did a whole video on it because he said like it's back. It's good. Like 2048 is as good as it's ever been. Like they fixed it. That's great. But they had like we're going into this next game and they just announced it. And that's like what they're going up against is like one of the biggest flops they've ever experienced. And the community just like, I don't trust you anymore. And that's like where we're at, right?
Yeah.
So
that's DICE, right?
Yes. DICE is one of the studios that's involved with it.
Okay.
So their trailer was like a 20-minute behind the scenes look at the game, which was a very interesting like tactic to take with announcing the game. like one of the big things they banked on is they announced that who the director of the game is going to be, which the director is the director of Titanfall. I forget his name, but he previously directed the game Titanfall, which is, I mean, chat will back me up on this. Titanfall is one of the greatest games ever made. It's incredible, great storyline, great gameplay. Like,
I've never played it,
dude. It's one of the best. Like they mixed FPS and mechanics just like chef's kiss perfectly. They just did it. And I just sit here and I'm like, why don't you guys just make Titanfall 3? Like, actually, just get Respawn to make Titanfall 3. People will be more happy. But anyway, he's the guy that's going to be directing the whole thing. And they have 4 studios that are going to be heading up the development. So DICE, from what I watched of it and what I remember, again, this is called all relying on my 247 Chrome tabs that are open in my head. But DICE is going to be handling the multiplayer, and then there's 3 other studios that are going to be handling different aspects. One, I think, is like completely dedicated to art, and then another one is completely dedicated to like the storyline and campaign missions. And I thought that was also kind of interesting. It's like they were basically pitching, like, hey, we've got a lot of people in on this. Like, we're not just like giving up on it. It's not just going to be DICE this time. There's going to be kind of some checks and balances here with other studios. But the biggest thing and the most unique thing about this whole announcement is they announced this thing called Battlefield Labs. Did you hear about this? They are going to test publicly all of the game mechanics with players from the community before the game
that's
ever
cool.
launches.
That is so smart. I love that.
It is the first time I have ever, in my recollection, seen a AAA studio say, we're going to basically early access this before we release this game to make sure it's what the community wants. And it's awesome. Like, I'm stoked about it personally. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. But the question kind of remains, do we trust EA and these 4 studios to make a good Battlefield, or are we just kidding ourselves?
You know, I think they're starting to learn that they have to make good games because so many things have failed recently. I love the UX testing. I love the involvement of the community. I have a hard time thinking that it is going to fail if they are really putting in all of these preliminary tests that they say they're going to do. But I guess only time will tell, right?
I mean, it will be interesting because like they did show a little bit of alpha footage of like the game, and they backed off of like again, this is from like the pre-alpha footage. Like they looked like they're going back to a very like almost realistic milsim, which when I was playing Battlefield like Bad Company way back in the day, that was kind of the appeal of it. Is it was like it was a simplified milsim, you know? It was realistic enough with like the realistic. It was the only game I remember back in like this would have been 2012, 2013, that had like realistic bullet drop and stuff. And it had like tanks and those big battlefields with like realistic destruction. Like you played Battlefield because you wanted to do like big battles and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And like the appeal for me of Battlefield 1 to this day is its simplicity and just like the beauty of that game. There's not excessive UI. It's very immersive. It's beautiful. Like freaking Battlefield was released like what 10 years ago, and to this day, it's still one of the prettiest games.
Yeah,
like Battlefield 1. It looks like, and again, this is just pre-alpha stuff. This is me being hopeful because I have at some times in my life been a huge Battlefield fan. Like it looks like they're going back. It looks like they're going back to their roots. They're trying to build another realistic milsim with the modern stuff, and they're gonna test it.
Battlefield 1, like there was always that battle between Call of Duty and Battlefield growing up, right?
Yeah.
Battlefield 1 was the game where I made the switch to Battlefield. It was so good.
That was the year that Call of Duty released Advanced Warfare, and nobody liked that game. Nobody liked that game. Like that game was trash. Like nobody wanted to be able to double jump in Call of Duty. Like what was the point? And so literally, like I've watched a really cool marketing analysis of this where someone said it was like literally 2 weeks after Call of Duty announced Advanced Warfare, the Battlefield 1 trailer dropped. And the Battlefield 1 trailer is like one of the most viewed trailers of all time. It's iconic. Yeah. And it was so good. It has the Glitch Mob remix of Seven Nation Army, and it's like World War I. Awesome. Like that game just absolutely slapped Call of Duty that year into the dark ages, and I loved it. So no, it is. It'll be interesting because, like, Call of Duty's in an interesting place this year. If Battlefield releases this year, Call of Duty has supposedly a 2-year cycle with Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I've been really enjoying Black Ops 6. I've been playing the crap out of it. I enjoy Omni Movement. I think that is one of the best mechanics Call of Duty has added to a game in a long time. I think it's great. I know some people complain about it because it's speed. I can do speed mechanics and movement and stuff, so like I feel like I'm okay with that. I'm not the general demographic, but it'll be interesting to see like if people go back to that milsim type thing that Battlefield offers for it. So we'll see.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. I think that's a really good like win for the week.
It's a huge win. It's like great news to talk about because again, I just love seeing these AAA studios go back to like, hey, like get the community involved. You're building for people, let the people tell you what you need, So love that. And by the way, EA, if you want me to play test it, I got you. Like, just hit me up.
They're gonna get all the streamers on there, man. You just got to keep growing.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Like and subscribe.
Well, I have one win that I think is a small little one. Have you ever heard of Rooster Teeth?
Yes, I just saw this.
Yeah, they're gonna come back. They just got
huge.
Purchased. So
they're by the original owner, right? By the original guy who owned it. Yeah.
The red and blue Halo.
Oh,
the classics.
Oh my gosh, dude! Red and blue makes up such a like significant part of my backstory because holy crap, Caboose is my favorite character ever invented. That is the funniest guy on planet Earth. Like, if you don't know who Caboose is, guys, go and watch Red versus Blue on YouTube. Caboose highlights. So funny. He's one of the funniest characters ever created. But yeah, I was excited to see that. Rooster Teeth is back. That was really sad when we heard they were shutting down. That was like 6-8 months ago, 9 months ago?
No, it was just a little bit longer than that. I think it was like a year ago. Over a year
ago. It's recent enough that it stung. Like I remember hearing that. I was like, dang, that was like a big part of like my YouTube experience growing up. They made a lot of good stuff. And it was sad to hear that. But I'm really excited that it's again, I feel like a lot this kind of reflects a bigger thing that's happening in the gaming industry as well. Like people are just going back to roots, man.
For sure.
Just going back to like what works and what's fun.
Like Rooster Teeth to me, or sorry, yeah, they were like less put together. Like they were like Gary's mod videos, like that whole genre of just throw something together. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make something goofy and fun and people will come. And I feel like with things like, Skibbity Toilet, even though it's like brain rot, but like that genre of just throwing things together, and even though it might be crappy and like low budget and low quality, like it's still entertaining and fun. And we're going back to that too with like big streamers and stuff. You see that too with like Queso being like the biggest streamer of the year last year, and Stitch. Like they're not as high quality streams, but people love them because they can relate to them more. So people are kind of going back to that content a little bit too.
No, I totally agree. And like, well, I won't bring up the other comparison to that because it has to do with some not safe for work stuff, but the whole I'll just say this real quick. One of the reasons why I feel like OnlyFans does so well because of that same thing. It's like it's more personal and it's more relatable. Anyway,
that's funny.
Done. No more of that.
Oh man. Well then let's jump into our next segment then.
Run
off the heels of that.
Run fast. Freaking Kermit the Frog's like, what did I just come into?
Well, we're now giving game recommendations, Kermit. That's what we're doing right now.
We're going to do some game recommendations.
So this is our first time doing it. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do like an indie game and then a AAA game that you would recommend, or?
Let's try like that. Let's do like an indie game, and then let's do I don't know. Like, I feel like if we just give like 2 or 3 like good recommendations, whether they be indie or whether they be big ones, like, cool. I think if we just gave a couple recommendations, kind of pitch why we like them and why we feel like people should jump onto it, I think that'd be a good way to go about this. And chat, you can roast us or tell us if that's something we should do or not.
Well, I have a AAA company or a AAA game to recommend. Just kind of going off of the like we never talk about good like studios, AAA studios that make awesome content. They don't get enough recognition for the things they do well. My studio that I really like is Monolith Games.
Monolith Games, okay.
You'll recognize them as soon as you Google them. They make the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor.
Oh yeah, these guys are goated.
They're making a Wonder Woman game right now, which is going to be interesting. Yeah, isn't that cool?
What?
Yeah,
dude, that's amazing.
So, I would say my first game recommendation. They're both a little bit older at this point. If you guys haven't played, it's like PS4 era. A lot of computers can still play them. But Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor being the older title, where it introduced something called the Nemesis system, which
Absolutely
is something
incredible.
that they patented. Essentially,
Absolutely
what you do is you can kill the orcs in Mordor that are a part of Sauron's army. And when you kill a member of Sauron's like leadership in his army, it shows like that the character dies on their giant grid. But then if you lose, then the orc gets promoted that killed you and is now a part of Sauron's like greater army that he's trying to. So I spent the first like 20 hours playing that game, not even playing through the game, just experimenting with the Nemesis system, trying to clear out all of Sauron's army before it regrew. So it's a really fun system. All of the characters are super smart, and definitely worth playing. And then Shadow of War just kind of expands on that whole idea and makes it even better. So you're taking out giant kingdoms instead of just like parts of the army. It's like giant. You go into a giant kingdom. You try and put orcs as hidden people inside of their kingdom hierarchy, so you can take over a captain and make one of their captains one of your guys. So when you get to the kingdom, they like switch sides. But then there's also a probability for them to switch back to the other team when you're with them. It's so much fun.
It's like all dependent on like how you've treated them. Like
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It remembers everything.
It's incredible. I borrowed that game from our friend Matt Bentley in college, and I borrowed it for like 9 months because I did not want to give it back. It was so much fun. My brother and I played it, and like we were just obsessed with like, exactly the same thing. It was like building our army, like conquering, and like just like the mechanics. Like there was literally this one POS, like I can't remember what his name was, but he had this freaking name, and like I was mad at him because he was literally like my nemesis. Like he defeated me in battle. He was promoted, and then he started taking over my cities. And I was like, this guy's a pain in my butt. Like one of the I love those mechanics. I too can highly recommend Shadow of War and what's the other one called?
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Fantastic games. The Nemesis system is one of the coolest game mechanics. I actually feel like it's the stupidest thing that they patented it. Not really. I understand why they did it. It makes sense from a business perspective. But like I want them to do more with that. Like I almost wish like Helldivers would implement something like that.
That'd be cool.
That'd be crazy, you know. But
I hope they put it into the Wonder Woman game.
I can't imagine they don't do some kind of iteration. Like whoever the mad genius was behind that, they've got to put something into that, you know? Like oh man, Wonder Woman game. I need to look into that more. That looks fantastic. Wonder Woman open world game by those guys. Let's go.
Yeah. Monolith Studios or Monolith Productions. That's the
Monolith
developer.
Productions.
Their publisher is WB, so they have access to all of the WB stuff.
WB is in a tight spot, so these guys could definitely come help them out. That's for dang sure.
And I just looked up the pricing. Shadow of War is still $50 on Steam. Crazy. But I'm sure it goes on sale pretty regularly. It came out in 2017, so it's hitting that 8-year mark. So I'm sure you can find it cheaper during sale seasons. Shadow of Mordor is the older one. I honestly would still recommend it, even though it's older. It's only $20 with the Game of the Year edition, so it has all the upgrades and a bunch of the stuff that you would want from it. So I think that's all of the DLC included. So for $20, you can get an awesome game, 2014. So about a decade old.
And
but
like it still holds up. Like even the graphics and stuff, like even playing it, which this would have been like only a couple years ago. When I played through it, I was like, wow, like that still holds up even a decade later. It's great graphics, very stylized in a way that doesn't age badly. It's fantastic. Highly can recommend as well.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for my first? This is my indie game recommendation. You ready?
Okay, let's hear it. Balatro. Hey, you finally played it. We've been talking about it so much.
Oh my gosh, bro. I am so addicted to this game. It is not even funny. And I can't freaking win an auntie, bro. It's killing me. So, okay, like, I've got a lot of praise to sing for Balatro. Like, first and foremost, it's a fantastic game. It's very, very simple, easy to learn, but like extremely high skill level as far as like trying to like master like where do you put your resources, what do you buy, what do you enhance, like which cards are you gonna get? Like there's just an infinite game loop to it. The whole roguelike part of it just keeps me coming back time after time after time. And the other thing that I love about this game is you pay $9.99 on your phone. That's it. No stupid ads, no additional content to buy from it. That's it. You pay one time and you've got this great game on your phone that also, like, the fact that you can pause the game, like, you can come back to the game at any point. You can have a run going and it's fine. You can put your, like, my wife loves that part. I'll tell you that much. She loves that I'll put my phone down and come do whatever I need to do. It's awesome. And like the story behind it, you know, like the developer and stuff who made it didn't think he was going to make a dime and is now like a billionaire. Like I love that. But again, I really hope that this game starts setting a precedent for like mobile games. Yeah. Like I'll be the first one to say I'm so sick of mobile games that are free with ads that are just cash grabs, that are just like, pay $9.99 to get 10,000 more coins to keep doing this addictive game loop. I'm just so happy this guy was like, $10, put it on your phone. You have the game. No ads, no additional content. That's the game. Enjoy it, play it, do what you want with it. I love that so much. So that's another reason I would recommend it. But again, it's a solid game. It's tons of fun.
Well, Kermit asked about Apple Arcade. You can get that for free, actually, with Apple Arcade.
There you go. There's no way to get it, boys and girls, if you're here.
Yeah, I mean, Kermit, it is true. You can get a lot of free games with in-game purchases, but I hate that model. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that model has ruined video games. Just my opinion. But, I mean, if you have Apple Arcade, it's free because you're paying a subscription fee anyway. So, I don't know. I think it's well worth the $10 and then never having to see an ad, never having to pay for anything ever again. Like, you just get a game that works and runs really well and is a really good game. I would much rather do that personally instead of freaking sitting through ads. Like, there's some games where I would rather just pay for it instead of seeing the ads that are in the game, and a lot of them don't have that option anymore. So
that used to be a big thing. It used to be like you could pay like $5 and they would disable ads, and like frankly, I would do that a lot because it's just like I just want to play the game, man. And I get it. Like, yeah, no, I totally see like having a free games means it's more accessible to more things. Totally understand that, but at the same time, I love just paying up front and just being able to enjoy the game. Like, it doesn't ruin any of the experience for me because it's like I've just had this game and I can play it however I want. I don't have to wait for a 30-second ad to run past so that they can get their 0.05 cents of revenue every time I watch an ad, you know? So I love it. I love Balatro. Highly recommend it. It's fantastic.
Well, I have another indie game that is kind of similar to Balatro that I want to recommend.
Okay.
It's something we've talked about on the podcast before. It's called The Bazaar.
Ooh, okay.
So it still might be in beta. I'm not 100% sure where they're at on the dev cycle for it. I paid $30 for it, but they will probably have a free version coming out in the next little bit.
Okay.
That's their goal, at least, is to have the free version and then only pay for like cosmetics. Same thing. You know, the huge, but it's a desktop game, and I think they're going to build a mobile version for it as well.
Okay.
But it's fun because it is kind of like your multiplayer card games, right? Where you build up your board and buy different things, kind of like a deck builder. I guess kind of like Balatro is a deck builder roguelite. It's a little bit different, but you build up your board and then it auto battles against the people that are in front of you. So it's an auto battler roguelike deck builder thing. It's a lot of different stuff. But it's fun because it's asynchronous, so you're playing against people that aren't live on the game at the same time as you. It's not like immediate back and forth. There's no like talking in the comments or in chat or anything like that. But you're playing an instance of somebody else that was at the same day as you at the same time. It saves their information, saves what was on their board, and then whenever you go up against them, it just pulls that instance, and it's a one-on-one fight. But then it gets rid of it. So nobody can ever play against the same instance of another opponent as you can, which is really interesting to me. It's a completely different way to do multiplayer where you don't have to have two people live simultaneously at the same time. It's really PvE, but each environment character instead is another player whose information was saved. I think that is such a novel idea. I think that it's a really cool concept. And it makes me want to build something that uses that type of a system as well. It's a lot of fun. Okay. But yeah, it's made by Tempo Storm, I believe is the name of the studio. They have been around for a little bit, but have never made a game. Their owner is a guy that used to be a professional Magic the Gathering player. And then I found him through Hearthstone when I was playing Hearthstone in beta in like 2013. He was live streaming Hearthstone back then. So it's a really cool game. I've been waiting for it for like 6 or 7 years, and it has lived up to all of the hype. And if you want to watch content on it before you play it, there's a YouTuber called Retromation. He does roguelikes, and he does a video for Bazaar every single day because ever since it came out, that's all he's played. Like, he used to be a variety streamer, but he loves the Bazaar so much. That's all of his content on YouTube now. It's awesome.
It's always, I mean, that's a pretty high testament to like the quality of a game. If someone goes from a variety streamer to like, this is all I do, you know, that's cool.
He's gone 100 episodes straight. So
wow. Okay. All right. Speaking of like long in development games, you showed me that Danny commented on Oompa's this video. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so
go for it.
So Oompaville is creating that game, Black Forest. I forget what it's called. Let me look it up real fast because it's a cool game, and I want to like support him. Oh, Black Pine Incident Response. So it's a game where you're playing with a group of 4, and basically you have a client. You have to go do a bunch of stuff in the forest, like cut down trees and build different things. But it's a horror game, so there's a lot of like Bigfoot or Wendigo type creatures in the forest that are trying to hunt you down. So it reminds me a lot of the VR game that has the ghosts. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head right now. You know what I'm talking about?
The Phasmophobia?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Phasmophobia, kind of like that type of game. But you're doing other things, like other tasks inside of the game. It looks like a lot of fun, but they just had to restart the whole thing. So he just made a YouTube video about it, and the top comment was Danny saying like, "Hey, your ragdoll physics look awesome." That's what he said. But it's just funny to like be watching Oompaville's video, like, oh man, it sucks that they're restarting. Like, it's awesome that so many people are here to support him. And then the first comment is Danny. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to send a screenshot of this to Garrett.
It's crazy. No, I have Danny to thank because he was a big reason why I started posting on YouTube because I loved watching his videos. And so like I started posting self-VR content because I was like, oh, maybe I could be like Danny a little bit, you know? So like I am just waiting. I know one of these days he's gonna come back to the light and he's gonna be like, behold Carlson, man. And it's gonna be great. But like, it's cool to see, like, he's obviously still active, you know. I just think he's taking a good long break to actually make Carlson this insane game. So,
you know, I don't know if he's making games anymore, man.
Really?
I feel like what he was doing was not sustainable as a game developer, right? I've pushed through some pretty crazy deadlines where I'm working tons of hours. And if he really worked as much as he said that he did on Carlson or on his videos, because there were days where he was working hundreds of hours, or not days, but weeks where he was working hundreds of hours to get stuff done for a YouTube video. And like, luckily somehow he had the algorithm work for him, because that's not normally the way that the algorithm works on YouTube.
It's the beginning
but
of
it worked.
Rod, that's why.
But I don't know. Like, I have been burnt out multiple times because of that type of a schedule. I can't even imagine what it would do to you if you're working on that for like multiple years in a row, just full on dive, hard. And then as soon as you're done with that, all right, I got to come up with the next idea. Like, it's got to be super tiring.
Oh no, absolutely. And like I can totally relate as someone who was a solo dev for a long time.
Yeah.
What I'd be willing to bet happened is like he finally had a snapping moment where he's like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Right. And I truly hope that he went and got the help he needed to deal with I think he has. I mean, like again, I'm no psychologist or anything, but I bet he has some form of like obsessive compulsive disorder
Yeah.
where it's like he couldn't not let things be perfect, right?
Yeah.
I think he had to work through that. What I really hope happened is that he found a team
Yeah.
that can work alongside him, and then he got the help necessary to be able to like sit back and be able to say, hey, we don't need to hit deadlines, because like I mean the amount of money he made off of like not Muck but his other one, what was it called, Crab Game. He made probably tens of millions of dollars off of that game.
You think so?
Oh,
it's just cosmetics, right?
Just cosmetics, but there's his rarity system that he implemented with it, and the way that he integrated with Steam's inventory system, which allowed for like trading and whatnot. Incredible, right? So I've watched a few videos where people said like he reached exit velocity. He didn't need to make anything else because like he probably had enough money. And I think that's true. But what I'm hoping, again, this is just me hoping, but I hope he found a team that's working alongside him. And one of these days he's going to be like, yep, it's ready. Like he has the money now to like sit back and like do it at a slower pace, to do it the way he wants to, but also do it at a mentally sustainable rate. And I hope he found a team to work alongside him. And then he'll be like, then he'll release Carlson and it'll be the game that everyone's expecting him to be. And then he'll be, I don't know.
Can you imagine working on a team with Danny? That'd be freaking nuts, dude.
I don't know if it would be as nuts as you think though. Like I just think like I've met people like Danny before.
Yeah.
Like people who are just geniuses when it comes to game design. And a lot of times like they put out one image to like the YouTube and the storefront, but like when they're down to like working, like they are just locked in kind of people. And it's actually kind of cool to work alongside them.
Yeah.
Like the guy who's behind the game Yeeps, Jack, he's like that.
Yeah.
Like like you meet him and he's just like this chill, like super funny guy. But like when he locks in, bro, it's like, whoa, like don't get in this guy's way. Like it's crazy. So I don't know, but I wish the best for him because like seriously, he was a huge inspiration for me, Danny. I love to see him still active here and there.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to see.
So I hope he didn't give up because he created like, have you ever played his VR game that he made?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Is that the one where you hit the ground and the little guys pop up?
Yeah. And you could like grab rocks and throw it at him and like people would come and attack you. It was great. Like
what's the game that used to be on the mobile game? Do you remember what I'm talking
about? Akron?
No. It was it was an old mobile game. Pocket God. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. It was great. That was great. Taxolotl asking, is that Churchill? Yeah, don't get in Churchill's way, chat. When Churchill locks in, holy crap, that guy cooks. We should get some of my devs on here to talk.
Yeah, I'd love to get some of them on here.
I'll talk to Churchill. He's the lead dev for Cell VR and pretty much everything going on at Red Team right now. We should get him on here and talk through it. He's the coolest guy. Like he does everything.
I'd love to sit down and chat.
We'll do it. I got one more game recommendation. It's a AAA title.
Okay.
Well, I guess kind of AAA title, but I cannot recommend Helldivers enough. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like Arrowhead Studios deserves all of the praises, man. I love that game. They just released a new War Bond where you can get a trench shovel and you can literally dig. People, I've already seen fetching trench warfare against the automatons is going down.
That's crazy.
Now. It's amazing. It is so incredible. So we've got, I can't recommend Helldivers enough. I love that game. I love the community that surrounds that game. I love all the social media that's around it. Like it's just this really rare, bright space in gaming. And I can't get behind that game enough. I just love it. I want to play it. I've been trying to slip it into a stream, but I've kept running out of time because I keep overbooking myself. But golly Christmas, do I love freaking Helldivers. I have a shirt. I love a game when I bought a shirt. Like this is the only other game I bought a shirt for. Who recognizes it? Who can tell me what it is? Who knows what it is?
I have no idea.
Oh, let's see if chat can find out. Only the real ones know what that symbol is. Someone will get it. I know someone will get it. It's so obvious. But there's only a few games that have ever inspired me to buy a shirt, and that's one of them.
I think you wore that last stream.
I did wear my Held Out shirt last stream.
Oh, speaking of shirts, have you been into the Discord and voted on the shirt for the bread box?
Yeah, we're cooking up some bread box shirts. Which one did you like?
The one with the bread on the front and the box on the back.
Oh, dude! So our good buddy Connor Searing, he whipped those up for me, dude.
They look awesome.
Did you see the pink one? The Discord didn't like it as much as the other ones, but oh my gosh, I love it so much.
Yeah, I didn't like it as much either. I like the regular one. I like the retro wave. That could be like a fun.
I'm such a
like limited release.
I'm such a hippie for like retro wave. That's one of the reasons I made that game Hard Drive. I just love that style, dude. It's so cool. I'm probably still gonna put it out there, but yeah, we are voting in the Garrett the Gamer Discord, which there should be links to it somewhere. We are voting on t-shirts, guys. We're making some cool ones.
I really do like that Breadbox logo. That is so funny.
Didn't that turn out so great, dude? Like, oh, Connor's a god, man. Does he have any socials? We should really shout him out.
Yeah,
get him on here. He'd be a fun one to get on here and talk one afternoon.
Yeah, we should definitely get him on here.
He's got a cool history in the gaming space as well.
Yeah, he was he did his internship at Riot Games working on Valorant.
And made a concept for guns that got put into the game and are cool as heck.
Accidentally.
So cool. And aren't you two cooking something up? You and him?
Yeah, we're working on a small studio. It's called Manic Fox Media.
Manic Fox Media.
Yeah,
love it.
We worked on some logos a while ago, but haven't finalized anything. Our fans are going to be called the MFers. That's why we picked Manic Fox.
Love it.
But we have a goal to release a game on Niantic Studio every other month this year. Maybe, if it goes well and we want to reach out and do other things, maybe we will expand out of Niantic Studio, but we're going to start there. And we're recreating a clone of Doodle Jump.
Nice.
It's going to be run on the web. And it's going to be in the style of actually this book right here. Look at that deity.
What am I looking at? That's crazy.
It's a monster from this book called Shadow Dark. Okay. I've been sending him a ton of concept art. Him and I both love crazy weird stuff. Let me find a good piece of art inside of this book. But we both love crazy weird art styles, and so I've been sending him tons of fun references. So this is a black and white. It's all black and white. But if you look, it's super gory, ton of viscera. There's rot and decay, and so we're gonna make Doodle Jump in that art style, you're escaping from hell. That's gonna be the concept. Is you're somebody trying to escape from hell, and all of the little bad guys in there are gonna be skulls and little demons, and it's gonna be fun. So that'll be our first little thing, and we'll see how that goes. Connor and I have cooked up fun concepts for years. We've never been able to just sit down and do it, but I think we're going to finally both dedicate the time to sit down and just do it this year.
You guys pitched that funny urinal game, and I thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we want to do stuff on Niantic Studio, is because we want to make games that are free, games that are easy to get to. So you just go to a website on your mobile phone and it'll work on your mobile phone. But then our goal is to make stickers and sell those for money, and then have a QR code on the sticker that will redirect you to where the game's at. So you could put these stickers all over cities, wherever you want, put stickers with QR codes on different things, and it would take you to a video game that you can play. And that would kind of be how we would monetize it. So that sounds fun to you guys. Let me know. And I still really like that idea. It'd be fun to just take art assets from the video game and turn them into stickers and try and sell them to get people to our video game and create a little cycle.
Wow, that's kind of fun. I feel like you could do some kind of unique geocaching where it's you unlock a special cosmetic for having gotten to the sticker that's in a certain spot.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That could be super fun. I'm always thinking of crazy marketing ideas. I had a couple with that for sale. Where it's there'd be a cosmetic unlocked if you could go find the sticker that I placed on some random trash can in New York or something like that. Just really really get it. Man, no one's figured out the t-shirt logo. I'm surprised, chat. I'm surprised.
What is it?
It's UNSC from Halo.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's so good. Oh, I love Halo. Halo Reach, man. That was a pivotal game for me. That's when I knew I needed to become a Spartan. So still working on that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I've seen some pretty interesting Halo rumors that they're gonna be putting it on PlayStation and giving away all their IP. So I'm excited to see what they do in Unreal Engine, and I'm excited to kind of see how that world evolves.
I do. If I were to say, I didn't really have like an L of the week, but the one L that I did see is that Halo Studios hired up a bunch of Concord devs and directors. Concord was the hero shooter that was turned off 3 weeks after it went live. And so that's concerning to me in a lot of ways.
I think that the directors are more concerning than the devs.
Yes.
I don't think the game was bad. I don't think it was poorly polished. I don't think it was a bad quality game. I just think it was a bad direction for a game. It was too safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like Marvel Rivals, like I gotta hand it to them. They knew their audience and they embraced it, and like it's paying dividends.
Yeah, for sure.
And Concord is the exact opposite, where they played it safe and it's gone.
Not memorable.
Yep. So I don't know. I don't love that hearing that for like Halo, because like obviously I'm a huge Halo fan. I would love to see like good things happen from it. But again, like you're right. Like if they're hiring on directors and stuff from games that literally flopped in 3 weeks, like in record time, that's not promising. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And sometimes you just work with what you have.
True.
So it could have been one person making a lot of the shots. But if they're reined in, then I have faith that the smart people at Halo will be able to rein them in the right way.
We'll see. Well, I mean, time will tell, right? Like, like again, like individuals is what makes up a group, and maybe like a different individual in a different group might come up with a different outcome. So we'll just have to see.
Well, cool.
All right.
Well, we want to finish with a couple of questions. I know Garrett said he has a meeting in the next little bit, but I think we still have a little bit of time.
We do have some time. So if you guys got questions for us or something you'd like to talk about, we've got this cool new highlight feature where we can bring up your comment onto the stream and we can talk about it. So opinions on the new Battlefield coming out from Taxolotl. I talked about that earlier. Rewind.
Yeah, after the episode, you can go back and rewatch that. I did see a couple of questions up here earlier. We're getting a lot of recommendations. Somebody asked if sale's free. Yes, sale is free.
Sale is free. Has been for almost
This guy really wants you to add a Boosin' Bill.
Okay. No, that's a song and it's copyrighted by Rare, who created Sea of Thieves. So no, we will not be doing that. Sorry. That is illegal.
Boo.
Ooh, Kirby. Leaderboards in sale. What would you want to be tracked on leaderboards is my question. Like we've talked about this a lot, actually. The problem is leaderboards are kind of the fickle thing in SailVR because number one, like there's two things we could track. We could track like kills, we could track treasure, but treasure is hard to track because it fluctuates. Like you sell stuff for gold, but depending on how much you buy, depends on how much gold is in your account. So like we could track that, but would it truly be a good way of going about it? I don't know.
I think one thing that I love that you did, all the OGs of Sail will remember this, was the first treasure hunt. The person that solved it first got their name put in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think people like leaderboards because they like credit for things. Like, that would be a fun thing, adding in a new treasure hunt. We talked about that at one point through the development cycle of Sail, about like every quarter adding in a giant scavenger hunt of some sort, and the first people to do it get themselves added to Sail's map permanently. That's in like a cosmetic. So I still think that's a fun idea.
That is a fun idea. That is a great idea. I would love to make it so there's like a chest with a crazy treasure hunt, and it's like the first 10 people, like their names are just going to get engraved on the next to it. Like
or you could do teams of 4.
Basically, yeah, like that crew. You could do 2 crews. Yeah,
you could do basically a Destiny raid inside of Sail.
Oh my gosh, did you see that Destiny is collabing with Star Wars?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it looks sick. I've never played Destiny before, but I'm suddenly about to buy a bunch of Star Wars stuff in Destiny because that's the only thing I want.
I did one Destiny raid on the day of release, and I played for 23 hours straight, and we made it to the very end, and we couldn't beat it. It was so depressing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I had to grind for like 3 weeks before that, though, to get to the right level so that I could do the raid. So it was like a 3 or 4 week dedication for me to be able to get into that raid.
How depressing, though, that even then.
Yeah, we couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
The memories, though.
The memories. All right, what else we got?
People are wanting to know if you'll ever do in-game mods for hard drive.
In-game mods for hard drive. Okay, hard drive is getting a pretty substantial update pretty soon here, guys. We're changing a lot of stuff about how the user experience design works in that game to make it more akin to what I'm realizing is kind of the VR standard. We've realized with a hard drive that buttons, like physical pressable buttons, are the way to go, or like laser pointer UI. People do not like touchscreen type stuff, which is how we based our entire game because we felt like that would work with the Tron. People don't actually know how to use that. So we're going to be doing a pretty substantial update to hard drive pretty soon here. We're also working on scheduling some community events, but in-game mods, like we don't have plans for that right now. You can report people, and we can ban them on our end. So like if there are people who are being bad, report them to us. We'll get them banned. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Pretty good update coming in soon, guys. So just be aware of that. We're excited about it.
Good games for PC gamers.
Oh, good gifts. A good
gifts for PC gamers.
Ooh, it depends on your budget.
Yeah, I love a good clacky keyboard.
Nothing like my ASMR.
Or your mouse. I love Razer mouse.
Good mouse.
Any Razer optics.
Kind of an easy one that's kind of universal is like a what do you call them? Key mat? The keyboard mat? No, mouse mat.
Yeah, like a mouse pad.
Yeah,
I have a giant one.
Yeah, those giant mouse pads. Those are fantastic. I love those. There's so many cool designs out there, and they get disgusting after a while. So like if you got a friend or whoever who's a gamer, like get them a new mouse pad. They'll appreciate it. It's always fun to freshen up your stuff like that.
Yeah.
Usually
Redbox t-shirt merch.
Redbox t-shirt coming soon. Asterisk. But yeah, no, I definitely go with the mouse. Someone's asking what mouse you got, Declan.
This is a Death Adder.
Ooh.
That's a little bit older, so it's a Razer Death Adder Pro V2. Ooh. I play a lot of League of Legends. I have for many years. I would say I played a lot of League of Legends. I haven't in a while, but this has the 2 side buttons, which I love for hotkeys and stuff. So yeah, I've been using that one for probably 6 or 7 years now. I've used 2 or 3 brands like SteelSeries, and Razer's just always been my favorite. I love the ergonomics of the mouse. So
it's a good one.
Let's see. Do I have a VR game?
Do you have a VR game, Declan?
I don't, unless you count Self-Aid Arcade.
Self-Aid Arcade.
I haven't been in Unity in years. I had a company reach out to me recently asking if I wanted to, get back into Unity, and I thought about it. We'll see. I have a lot of things that I like to make. I would probably not develop a VR game first, if I'm being honest with you. I've made VR stuff, and I think VR is a lot of fun. But I've been getting more into just like simple desktop games. So that's kind of, I really want to master the idea of game development for 2D and 3D games first, and then dive into VR. So I think game design, though, is really where my heart lies. I love designing the games. I don't mind programming. It's not my least favorite thing in the world, but game design, I think it would be a lot of fun, and it's just fun to make stuff like that.
I always tell people anyone can design a game, but can you build it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're lucky that we have the skill set where we can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. But man, does Self-Made Arcade even work anymore? I think you can still sideload it. I never pushed it up to App Lab, but I was proud of a couple of those game modes we created. That Tsunami Runner, I'm so proud of that game. I love that.
Maybe we should revamp that one.
Dude, I'd be down, honestly. If we wanted to revamp Tsunami Runner, make that thing multiplayer so you could like run alongside people and like push them into the tsunami. I think that'd be hella fun.
I still think a mini game in VR would be a lot of fun.
Mini games.
Yeah.
There's something there.
WarioWare is one of my favorite like Nintendo games. I think it's so silly. Like the whole Mario Party idea with the mini games, but just silly versions of them. And that's what WarioWare is. I think something like that would be a cool idea in VR. But
where did I see that? I did an interesting. Well, I had one of my employees do an interesting analysis of like the VR marketing space, and I feel like party games was kind of a rising genre. So
I feel like networking was really hard, and something happened in the last couple of years where networking has been more available to people to get multiplayer things created. I don't know what it is, but
there's definitely like number one, there's a lot more tutorials.
Yeah, like that makes sense.
Like you can literally, there's a great tutorial on YouTube if you want to make a Gorilla Tag clone. Like there's a guy who made a perfect tutorial that will walk you through every step of the way, and by the end of it, you will have a fully functioning Gorilla Tag clone.
Cool.
Like there's tons of tutorials. Also, I like to give a lot of credit to Normal VR, who created Normcore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that is a fantastic asset for getting multiplayer rapidly into a prototype or game. That's what we use behind Sail and Hard Drive. It's fantastic. The team is fantastic. I know a lot of the founders and whatnot.
Cool.
And they've been so great to work with because they work in VR. Again, it's kind of the specifics of VR that make it difficult. And so working with people like that has been great. So I love Normal. They're fantastic. They've done great things for us. And again, like speed, like they just offer speed of getting multiplayer into that stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. I think, multiplayer would be fun to work on again. Does Normcore, is it only for VR?
You can do it on other platforms as well, but like their bread and butter is like they have VR. Like a VR rig you can just drop in and you're in, and just like that. So it's nice.
Yeah. So. I think something that I've learned recently, and this is kind of going off a tangent, I really want to make a multiplayer augmented reality game. But multiplayer for web sucks so bad. Yeah. I hate working on web multiplayer stuff. I feel like Photon is probably the best solution. So I think you can do multiplayer through Photon on the web. But just figuring out a networking system for multiplayer on web games is so hard.
Yeah, there's a game that I play sometimes. It's called Eggsploder. You ever heard of this?
Okay. Yeah, I think we found it together.
Yeah, we found it and we played the crap out of it. It has fantastic networking. But it's a full-on Call of Duty clone with eggs.
Yeah,
like, it's fantastic.
We should do that in chat after the stream one day.
That would be hilarious. Jump into eggs. I jumped into it the other day because I was like trying to remember what the game was, and I jumped in, and like I used to be pretty good at that game. Holy crap! Like they added so much to it. I'm impressed, and it runs completely in the browser, which is another crazy thing. So, yeah,
that'd be a fun one.
That would be a fun one. Bread and butter. Not a bread box reference.
I think we've talked about this before, but which one do you want to make personally?
The problem is, so this is actually the funny thing. I am the most excited about Monsters and Mazes, closely followed by Z-Route. Okay, like those are the two games that I put the most amount of thought into. But ironically, like if you look at the Discord right now for Game 3, which by the way, if you guys want to be involved with the creation of Game 3 is what we're calling it. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but if you want to pitch your vote on it, the Game 3 Discord is linked in both the CLVR Discord and the Garrett the Gamer Discord. So go and check it out if you want to be involved with making it. But right now we have a member counter on the different. So the way that the Discord works is you join the Discord and you choose which game you want to see made, and you get that role, and you're allowed access to all the channels to deal with that game, right? And right now the highest member count we have is for Certain Depths. And the problem is the game idea that I had for Certain Depths was a single player game, but nobody wants the single player version of it. Everyone wants the multiplayer version of it. which like personally I have thought the very least amount about. I know I have an idea, but if we make that game, that'll very much be Churchill's baby, because Churchill has like a much cooler idea for how he wants that game to. So I am the most excited about Monsters and Mazes personally, followed by Z-Route. Like I have so many cool ideas for Z-Route. Like that's the one that I want to see made. But
so where can people find information about the 3 games? Because I'm here looking at the Discord for game 3, and it just has the names that you pick from.
Did you pick
it
a
doesn't
name?
have the No, I didn't pick one yet.
Pick a name. Then you'll get all the information. You gotta.
How do I know which one I want to pick before I know what they're about?
Just pick all 3 then, and then figure it
out. I was just wondering.
No, it's fair. Yeah, no. There's FAQ channels for each of the.
Okay.
There should also be an FAQ in general that everyone gets access to when they join. But
okay.
I kind of made the Discord with the assumption that you'd heard something about the games already, because I made those posts about it. But anyway, no, Funny VR, I do think a lot about Z-Route. I have some really fun and cool ideas for Z-Route. There's a whole vibe that I don't think has ever been done in a zombie apocalypse game that I really want to go for in Z-Route that I'm very, very excited about. There's a lot of stuff with it that I'm really excited about Z-Route. That's my second favorite idea. But the reason I was so stoked about Monsters and Mazes is because I came up with some of the funnest monster and maze ideas. Like I had a lot of really cool ones that I know, and like eventually we're gonna get you guys a demo where you're gonna try out some of it and you'll be able to try it out. We're gonna do that with probably all the games. We're gonna create like a very simple playable demo for the public to try out and decide. We'll go from there. But like once you guys play the demo, I think you guys will get a little better idea of why I was so excited about Monsters and Mazes. So
yeah,
stay tuned for that.
I think the thing about Z-Route that I like when I read the description again, how iconic is freaking Transit, dude? Like having that in VR, just that idea. I love Transit. It's always amazing. Going to be one of my favorite things ever. I would pay just for that. Like if I could have access to just Transit forever.
Oh,
going back and playing that is so fun.
I still play Transit like to this day, and there were some huge problems with Transit, which were like it was held back by the fact that it was made on the old consoles, right? Yeah. I'm really hoping and praying that Black Ops 6 does a Transit remaster. That would just make my entire life, where they take away the fog. Like there's a guy on YouTube he's been making his own Transit remaster. Where it's like the lava has cooled down. There's no more fog. It's big open world, but it's the old zombies mechanic. It's awesome looking. It's so cool looking. Yeah. But like that's the vibe. Like I loved the fact that you could like upgrade the bus in Transit and it would kill zombies for you. That there was like different things you could do with that. I think it just works, dude. So like I'm pushing for it. I'm pushing for it. What will the driving be like in Z-Route? We'll have to see. We're very familiar with vehicles here at Red Team Interactive. We've built pirate ships, we've built motorbikes, we've built like lots of stuff. So if anyone can do vehicles well, it'll be us. Trust me.
Let's see. Monsters and Mazes is like Dead by Daylight, but in VR.
Yep.
Using Gorilla Tag movement.
Gorilla Tag movement, which like I wish we had a better name for that, but it is the movement. And trust me, guys, the movement works really well for that game.
I think something else you could throw in there, because the tasks are like the big thing. That's the big gameplay, right?
Yes.
I hate the tasks in Dead by Daylight. It's so dumb. Fix the generator. If you incorporated tasks like in Among Us, I think that's really cool. Like they're all a little mini game. So you could throw that as a descriptor as with Among Us mini games.
So we don't have necessarily Among Us mini games, but the idea is that every maze will have unique solvable components to it. So like, for example, in our Minotaur maze, what will happen? The monster will be a Minotaur, and every like 30 seconds or so, he'll be able to see through the walls and see where the players are. And the players have to go out into the maze and find a gold key to unlock a door. And inside the door, there will be like a teleporter or an altar that they have to go and find like a couple of different gems for. There'll be like a red gem, a green gem, and a yellow gem. If they can find all the gems, like that portal is now open. And if all the players can get to it, the players win. Whereas the monster will the monster will have to get them. We're actually thinking we're gonna do it like more of like a time limit thing, where it's like the monster keep them from solving the maze for 5 minutes, and then it'll choose a new monster. The maze will reset, and it'll go that way. Yeah.
There's another game that is dead that this kind of reminds me of as well. Let me find it real fast.
Add wheel support for Zero.
Not Dying Light.
Sick drifts in the bus. Oh, dude, chat, you guys are crazy. Be able to drift the bus in Zero. Y'all are crazy.
This one was interesting. You were high school students, and you had to escape, kind of like Dead by Daylight.
What is it
Devour,
called?
maybe?
Devour?
I'm trying to find it. Maybe not.
Co-op horror. That might be it. Honestly, that kind of looks more like almost a Phasmophobia type clone.
Yeah, that's why I'm not thinking that's it.
Jeez, that's a freaky monster. I'll give him that. Ooh.
I'll have to find it. It was a game that was really cool. You could pick the different types of monsters that you were. You'd lay out different traps. And then if you killed a person, they could just go revive them in a room. They were trying to get to the exit. So it was like a longer playthrough. It wasn't once somebody's dead, they're gone, like in Dead by Daylight, but they would respawn in. And you had a certain number of respawns. It would take them to like a little room area where the high school students had to go and open the door for them and they could get out. I think I bought it on Steam. Let me see if it's in my Steam library.
Yeah, I need to play a lot of I'm gonna be playing some of those like co-op horror games like Lethal Company on stream in the coming time.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get ideas mostly for certain depths. Again, like certain depths is the one that I have like the most nebulous about, but I have a very clear picture for Zero and Monsters and Mazes. But certain depths, I had a very clear idea for the certain depths single player, which I'm debating on developing in my free time.
Okay.
But
free time.
Depths, yeah, exactly. Free time. So will there be puzzles in Monsters and Mazes? To an extent, yes. But a lot of the fun in Monsters and Mazes will come from like the being chased mechanics.
How do you randomize it? That's kind of what I'm wondering. So it's not like the same thing every time.
We've got a few things up our sleeves for that.
Gotcha.
I'll just wink and nudge you at it right now and just say, just wait and see. We got some cool stuff. Make a Call of Duty. How do you call a turkey with 2 legs? What do you call a turkey with 2 legs? Uh-oh. Certain depths would be super scary. LOL, IDK. Why people want to be in a submarine underwater in the dark with monsters in VR. Dude, it would hit on a lot of phobias, dude. Thalassophobia, megalophobia. We could really put some people in the hospital with it. That was the goal.
It's always a good goal.
It's funny though because like I don't play horror games. Like,
no, you don't.
I'm a big baby when it comes to horror.
When you said you need to play some horror games, I was thinking, yeah, like that's
the social horror games are easier for me because like again, I play the crap out of like the old COD Zombies, which were horror to an extent because like I could do something about it. But I hate those games. Like FNAF, Help Wanted in VR. Oh my gosh, like that is like the worst thing in the world for me. And yet, like I want to make a game like it because I'm so intrigued by how like scary it is to me. That's weird. I've got a very interesting cocktail of mental illnesses that create interesting things. Anyway, I tried playing Animal Company on stream, Kermit. It was a disaster. I could not mute the screamers, and I would have gotten banned if I had stayed in that lobby for another second. Holy crap.
Do they not have muting?
They do, but it is the worst muting system I have ever encountered. You have to hold to mute someone. So it's like a 3-second process for all of the players in the server. There's like just add a mute all button. For the love of all things holy, just add mute all. And the problem is every time a new person came into the lobby, I had to go mute them too. So it's like I just constantly had these squeakers, and there's no way to make private lobbies that I could tell. So I was just like, well, this is broken. It's good. It's a fun game. I've played that game with my team before. Like it's a lot of fun. I do like that, but anyway. I feel like if you did Z-Route, it should be Pixelated Monkey Locomotion. No, Z-Route will be same locomotion as Sail.
I found the game. It's called Last Year the Nightmare.
Last Year the Nightmare.
It was a really cool one. I was sad that it died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The problem is like in that space, Dead by Daylight is just such a power player, you know?
Yeah, but not in VR.
It's true. Yeah. Not in
Friday
VR.
the 13th is another one that's super popular. Or at least it was for a while in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. That's interesting. Did you ever play that game? There was a really unique game I saw recently where it was a horror game, but all the players were wind-up toys. And so like to go anywhere, you had a limited amount of like wind-up, right? And you had to be wound up by your players. It was a really interesting co-op horror game. And then there was this like mannequin looking for you that was terrifying. And then he could disable you and your friends could put you back. It was really, I can't remember what it was called, but it looked really interesting. It's been one of the most unique and terrifying art styles I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yes, Rooster Teeth is back. We were talking about that earlier. We are excited about that.
I'm gonna try and get get Connor on the podcast sometime. We should hype that up.
We should. Connor would be a fun one to talk about. I would love to also hear from like an artist perspective, like how he looks at games and how he looks at like the graphics and whatnot, since he's involved with that heavily.
Oh, that's a good question. How did you come up with the idea for Sail VR? It's a fun story.
Yeah, I need to make like a whole video to put on my channel about this because it's kind of a crazy story. So Declan and I, we both got involved with a mixed reality lab at the university we attended, and I think both of us just had that moment where like, this is the future. Like we were both obsessed with it. I think you and I both were just kind of like, we were looking for something to be passionate about, and like you definitely took off with augmented reality, and I took off with VR, virtual reality.
Yeah, neither one of us, like we both joined, I think, our major for cybersecurity, and then got into there and freaking hated it. So I was like, well, now what do we do? We're kind of stuck. I had been in school already for a little bit longer than you, I think, and I was just ready to get going on something. So we were both doing UX as our emphasis, and like that was cool, but I don't know if I really wanted to do it forever, type of a thing. But then we both fell into this area, and it was like, all right, this is it. This is what we're focusing on. And like we had so many naysayers too. They're like, you're never going to be able to do this.
Oh yeah, there was lots. But yeah, like I don't know. So like the way that it happened for me is like I jumped into cybersecurity because like I talked to a hacker my freshman year, who was a red team like infiltrator for Microsoft. Like he worked on hacking Microsoft and keeping their stuff safe. And so like when the major was announced that they had just created, I was like, oh, I'll go try that for a little while. So I did that. I actually was declared a cybersecurity until senior year. Did you know that?
I was too.
Yeah. And then I finally switched over to UX. But at that point, I kind of knew I was going to do something in VR. Because I had started getting other jobs in Unity around campus. But yeah, so anyway, like we worked in this mixed reality lab. And basically what happened was we got exposed to everything in virtual reality that was pretty much available consumer-wise at the time. Like we had the Rift, we had the HTC Vive, we had what was that augmented reality one? Magic Leap.
Magic Leap 1.
We had tons of stuff, and we did a lot of research in like user experience design, trying to just figure out virtual reality. And then we were in that lab when the original Oculus Quest was released.
Yeah.
And we got one as a lab because obviously like we wanted to mess around with it. And like that to me, I was like, this is the future of gaming.
For sure.
Like, I just had that moment where I was like, this changes everything. No wires. Like, being able to play full on games with no wires in virtual reality, game changer.
Well, it's like re-immersing for the first time.
Yes, because like we had played everything with a PC attached to us, and it was limiting. Like we played the best games. We played Half-Life Alyx. We had played, all this stuff that was available. Beat Saber, Echo. We played everything, but it was limited by how far you could move. And the Oculus Quest totally changed that. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, like what fits in this genre? Like what were they doing? And I noticed nobody was trying anything ambitious. Like everything at the beginning of like Oculus was like, I'm sorry, but like kind of cheap arcade experiences.
Yeah.
And so I was like, bro, like let's get full on adventure, full on RPG type mechanics into this sector. And my brother and I had been talking about a pirate game and pirate lore for a really long time. And so one day while I was working my remote job as a system administrator, which I snapped. I was like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. I like clocked out and started working on Sail and put out my pitch for the game basically and a super teeny tiny demo for it onto side quest. And within like the week, we had over 1,000 downloads. It was crazy. And then I just kind of kept going from there. So,
well, you were also doing a bunch of fun stuff with side quest at the time. Yes. I remember like you were looking into trying to figure out marketing and advertising and like putting ads inside of free VR games.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
My plan, because I didn't know that I was going to start this company, I was planning on doing a master's degree at that university. I'd been accepted, actually. I had a job offer with the U.S. government to go and build simulations for the Marine Corps. I was going to build training sims for them. And then I was going to get my master's degree at the same time from the university I was already attending. And I'd been accepted into the master's degree. And I was going to study advertising in virtual reality and figure out like what's effective and what's not, which it's still like something I'm interested in. But then, just because of circumstances and having the right conversations, people were like, why would you go work for others when you could work for yourself? That started that whole crazy thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, Garrett and I had a lot of late night conversations at that time period too. I remember because I was working at a studio that was making XR stuff, and I was pitching to them that we should try and do Sail with Garrett, like the first iteration of it, the alpha. And they're like, yeah, we might. They didn't really know where they were going at the studio either. We were doing like AR marketing stuff at the time, but we were open to kind of doing whatever we wanted in XR. So we were doing some Unity projects too. And I was like, hey, Garrett, they already knew him from our senior project, but I was like, hey, Garrett's been working on this for a while. Like we should at least hear him out and maybe help him find a studio if we can't work with him. So we did calls with Continuum. And then we had that other call with that other studio, the Tree, whatever. I don't know if you remember them.
I do remember them. I don't even remember what they're called.
Yeah, I can't either. Yeah. But we did it with another studio, and and then I would talk to Garrett like a couple times a week, and we'd jump on and was like, "Dude, I think you should do this." I don't know. It was a fun time period.
It was one of those like divine intervention things where Declan just so happened to be with the right people that I needed to be with, and it was just it's just one of those things, man. It was cool.
So, and then that studio is now the one that makes Monkey Do and
they make Monkey Do and Cactus Jam.
So,
they are great. I love Continuum. They're talented people over there. Declan used to work for them, did some cool stuff with them, and is now on his own.
Yeah,
but it's they're doing good stuff. So, and I seriously do have to thank them for helping me get Salvia off the ground. They've been awesome.
Yeah, it didn't all work out the way that we hoped, but it got somewhere.
it got us where we needed to,
Yeah.
Like we were all entrepreneurs at the time. We were all starting up, and what? Like I had no hard feelings from anything that happened at all. I feel like we all got a great deal out of that. So it is what it is.
Yes, that is how the Sail chest is in Monkey Do.
That is why the Sail chest is in Monkey Do. Yeah, that is correct. We got Helldivers inbound. Oh, yeah. I want to play Helldivers so bad. Oh, this meeting better not take very long because I am for sure jumping into Helldivers tonight. Oh my gosh.
Let me know. I'm going to be working late tonight, so I'll put you on stream and maybe I'll jump in for a round or two. Dive.
keep my brain rot on the side there. No excessive brain rot, chat.
All cool. Right. Well, I think I got to go, but it's been fun.
I too should probably get ready for this meeting that I'm going to be on. So, yes, that was the Practically Reality Pod. Kind of a long one today. Yeah, we got to go back to our hour-long chats. We got to keep ourselves to a time limit. Goodness. Well,
Well,
ladies
when
and
we
gentlemen,
play video games afterwards, it's a little
exactly.
bit
That's the problem. That's the problem. Turns into a 5-hour stream every day. Every time we do it, it's fine. We love it. We're here for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that is the Practically Chaotic podcast, guys. Thank you all for coming. You can catch us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We go live on Twitch and YouTube. Look us up on our socials, Practically Chaotic Podcast, anywhere you follow people. And if you don't catch us live, be sure to catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you catch your podcast, you can find us. Those usually go live the day after we stream. So every Thursday-ish or Friday, new episodes are uploaded. So go and check us out there. And go and join the Discord, guys. We've got some stuff going on in the Garrett the Gamer Discord. Should be links to that in all the bios and whatnot. So that is all from us this week, guys. We will catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
Cue the outro music.